Hey everybody, we got a public service announcement for you right here from the Hip Hop Stock Doc. Just want to shout out Brent Jones for responding to our Verse of the Week challenge. Remember on the last podcast we asked you to submit 3 verses that had investment concepts in them. And the first one to do so would get 2 free months to our subscription program in addition to the free month that already comes with it. And Brandon Jones was the first to respond with it. He gave some great lyrics from Odyssey as well as Elzai.
Elzai, what up?
Yeah, Detroit Deli right there, from Village. So we just want to just shout him out. Thanks for participating. We're going to have many more contests to come soon.
So you guys stay tuned.
Brent, money, life. 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 Tell them we want more money, life. Tell them we want more Brent money. Tell them we want more money, life. Tell them we want more Brent money.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Brent Money and Life podcast. This is your host, Eric Patrick, the Hip Hop Stock Doc. Make sure you check out our website, www.thebmex.com. That's www.thebmex.com. Also check us out on Instagram at black_market_exchange and on Twitter at bmex_. When you go to our website, you can always sign up for our email list so you can stay in the know of what we got cracking. I'm here today with
at Carter Park. Make sure you guys subscribe to us on YouTube, leave comments, check us out on SoundCloud, like us, thumbs up, thumbs down, as long as you're engaged. Tonight we're gonna talk about hip hop and its effects on the global economy. That's what we're gonna talk about. Hip Hop Stock Doc. I'm live with the Hip Hop Stock Doc, and we are talking about hip hop and its effects on the global economy.
So we talking about hip hop on the global economy. So you mean to tell me you're not gonna give me no investment tips today? I ain't gonna get no gems.
Yeah, we're gonna drop some. We're gonna drop a couple of gems in there, but we're gonna. Well, you know what? This whole conversation is an investment tip, right? Because in talking about hip hop and its impact on the global economy, you have people investing in hip hop, and you have people benefiting from the investments in hip hop. So that's what I want to talk about, because there are different. Yeah, there's different ways people are riding on their surfboards. I'm just saying. We have people that invest in hip hop, and we have people that benefit from the investments in hip hop.
So the artists ain't benefiting from the investment?
Not many of them. Not many of them. Jay-Z is. Who else is?
But it seemed like Jay-Z's on the other end of the spectrum. If that's the case, he's on the benefit side. Jay-Z ain't got to drop an album no more.
Yeah, Jay-Z is his own. He's his own entity. Jay-Z is. He's like a human holdings company.
Man, look. They mentioned on Empire that they interviewed, I guess, the writer for the show. I know they always put up about Lee Daniels creating Empire, but it's actually this Jewish cat that I think is the writer for the show. And he said Jay-Z was the inspiration for Lucious Lyons.
Yeah, I like that cat, man. I enjoyed that interview. When I checked it out, he seemed like a person that was vested into hip hop and intrigued by hip hop. I don't know if he grew up listening to hip hop or not, but the show is doing well. The show it's well written, and just the fact that he based Lucious Lyons off of Jay-Z, because like I said, man, Jay-Z is his own he himself is his own holdings company, and let me further get into that. When I say he's his own holdings company, what Jay-Z does is look for good investments. He knows about good investments. He gets in on those good investments, and he makes them better. Take, for instance, the Brooklyn Nets, right? Mm-hmm. The Brooklyn Nets were the New Jersey Nets, right?
Yeah.
Before Jay-Z got involved, Jay-Z said, you know what? I don't care if this franchise is winning or losing. I'm going to make this franchise cool. I'm going to bring them to Brooklyn.
Just like Black Market Exchange is making investments cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had to get my plug in real quick.
Yeah, plug it real quick. Yo, so just like Black Market Exchange is making investments cool, because investing doesn't have to be all suit and tie. It doesn't have to be suit and tie all the time, 24/7. Because like investments are going on all around you 24/7. Like we state that all the time.
Yeah.
They're going on around you 24/7, whether you like it or not. So investments are not just the guys that you see on Wall Street. Investment can also be you guys too. So going back to the Jay-Z thing, he made Brooklyn cool, man. People were moving back to Brooklyn. Brooklyn
Dude,
had
folks became Nets fans that I ain't never even seen before.
yeah, because it's cool to be a Nets fan. Look at the jerseys.
Yeah.
Look at the jerseys.
And the crazy thing, it was simple, but yet it just looked dope at the same time.
It was effective. It was
Yeah.
effective. So Jay-Z really came up with this brilliant marketing plan, right? He said, you know what? I'm going to bring them back to Brooklyn. Brooklyn is his home. I'm going to make them look cool. I'm going to grow this investment because whether we win or lose, people are going to invest in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
They're going to, because people are investing in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is got a facelift. It's not do or die Bed-Stuy anymore, man. If you take a look at, if you live in New York or if you know somebody from New York, they'll tell you right off the bat, man. Real estate is out the roof in Brooklyn. Yo, Brooklyn is not the same Brooklyn anymore, man.
Oh, so you giving out some real estate deals this time.
Yeah, I'm giving out. Yeah. Well, it's probably too late. You probably had to get in a little bit earlier now. Yeah, because it's too late now. The prices are through the roof. But I was listening to a interview with Spike Lee a while back, and he was saying how his dad, they grew up in Brooklyn. His dad is a jazz musician, right? So he was saying like how his dad would get up on Sunday mornings, I believe, and play the trumpet. He did this for like 30 years, and people moved into Brooklyn that, were not used to that. They were people that mostly came from the city, and they were like, they called the police on it. That's just to show you how Brooklyn has changed, right? But Jay-Z saw that change in Brooklyn, right? So this is an everyday thing that we always harp on and we tell you guys about in Black Market Exchange. This is an everyday thing. Jay-Z saw that change and he said, you know what? I'm Jay-Z. I'm a minority owner. He wasn't a majority owner in the New Jersey Nets. He was a minority owner, right? And he said, I'm going to use my face, my coolness. I'm going to bring the Nets from New Jersey, right? Because everybody's migrating to Brooklyn already, right? I'm going to bring them, and I'm going to bring them to Brooklyn. And guess what? I'm going to change out the uniforms, and I'm going to make them cool, right? I'm gonna start wearing the new Brooklyn jersey, the new Brooklyn hats, man. It
became more about the persona as opposed to the team.
It's cool. It is
like
cool.
People almost forget about New Jersey's history. You know what I'm saying?
How bad
the
they
Nets history. Yeah,
and they're not really that good at this point. But the Jay-Z made an investment. He said, you know what? I'm going to change the look of this franchise, and what I'm going to do is actually move this franchise to make it more valuable. The Brooklyn Nets are more valuable because of what Jay-Z put into it. Point blank, they're more valuable. I don't care if he did only own a minority stake. They are more valuable at this point because of the investment that he put into it.
So that's kind of like if you invest your little, $20, $30 into a stock, even though you're a minority owner, that company is still at a higher valuation because of your contribution.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of the same way. Like you can see yourself as Jay-Z, I got a minority stake. I own this amount of equity in a company.
Yeah.
So I'm influencing that company one way or the other, even if it's on a smaller scale.
Yeah, your impact is not going to be big. They're not going to let you move the franchise, but your impact is still helping them because what they're doing is using that money that you're investing into that company to make that company better. That's what they're doing, right? So when we look at Jay-Z and his effect on the global economy, man, we look at how he said, okay, now that I got Brooklyn now that I got the Nets to Brooklyn, now that I got them looking cool, I've made profit on my share. So I can get out. Now I'm going into sports agency. So
that's like the Dr. Dre Apple deal that we talked about in the first podcast where, our special guest, the director Broderick Carter, he was mentioning that Beats was peaking, and they've already made 3 or 4 times what they put in, so they might as well get out.
Yeah, they might as well get out because, like we said, Jay-Z had the Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, they probably had another investment vehicle ready to go. Mm-hmm. And Jay-Z already had his next move. He had it ready to go. He was like, now I built a relationship and I built rapport with these sports figures. Now let's go into sports.
So he used the Nets as a short-term investment, but he already was thinking long-term to set up his agency.
Yeah, he was doing a long-term investment. So when you look at it and you think about it, you say, oh wow, I can see the big picture now. How me and you are just sitting here and we're discussing it, but that's what happened. He said, I'm gonna use the Nets for leverage for this other investment that I'm about to venture into. And that's how hip hop has an effect on the global economy. So when you look at hip hop and its effect on the global economy, and you look at how
it's not exactly, but something like the whole sweat equity thing, where you kind of pay a little bit at a time, until eventually you become a majority shareholder, and then you run the show.
Yeah. So
or you hold the cards.
So because hip hop, it affects different economic situations differently. So you have so hip hop has an effect on the corporate America, urban and suburban America. So let's break those down. What do you, when I say urban America, what do you think? What do you think of when I say urban America?
I mean, I'm thinking of, in my project,
the hood, right? So they stopped calling it the hood, right? And they started calling it, urban areas. But basically, an urban area is just the hood. And a suburban area is what? It's not the hood. It's not the hood. And me and you, we have been blessed that we've seen both parts. Mm-hmm. We seen the urban part, we seen the suburban part, and we also seen the corporate America part. Mm-hmm. So let's dig a little deeper into that and show how. Let's talk about the effects of a hip hop record. So T.I. has the record with, what's the kid's name? What's it? Young Thug, right?
Oh yeah.
He has a record, right? Young Thug, right? And what's it? If it ain't about money, you can miss me with it. Mm-hmm. And the first thing out of a rapper's mouth, right? They love to say this is like, the little white kids buy more records than anybody else.
Yeah.
But it doesn't affect those people, whether they're white, black, blue, green, Hispanic, or whatever, who live in suburbia, the same way it affects whether you're white, black, blue, green, Hispanic, and you're in an urban environment.
Yeah.
It affects you totally different. And it affects your economics totally different. Because when you're in that urban environment, right, what are you doing, right? You're saying, okay, I'm trying to get out of this environment. So I'm not even concerned about bringing money back to this environment, right? So when you're in, so take for instance, right, the song, If It Ain't About Money, You Can Miss Me With It, right?
Yeah.
So I'm urban kid and you're suburban kid. Let's say that. So me, urban kid, if it ain't about money, you can miss me with it. I look around and it is all about money. Because my mama need money to pay the light bill. We trying to hustle up rent. She got to put clothes on all of our backs. Mm-hmm. And really everything is about money. She doesn't even have any free money to invest with, So my dad maybe not be there, or even if my mom and dad are there in this urban environment, they're trying to do their best to get us out of this urban environment, right? Yep. But you are suburban kid, right? And you live on a nice street, cul-de-sac, palatial, and the name of your neighborhood has estates on it. So you listen to T.I. and you say, if it ain't about money, you can miss me with it. And you say, oh, that's the jam. And then you walk outside and your environment is totally different because your economics are different.
It's almost as like it's more of a sheer entertainment as opposed to it's really speaking to me. I mean, I know music inspires across all class systems. Or
Yeah,
whatever. But
and
at the same
lines,
time, like I'm not so much. It's really just so I just need something to bump in the whip.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody like, oh no, I need to get this cash.
Because that's all I see. That's everybody in my environment. They're doing that. They are doing whatever it takes to get the cash. You know, when you're in suburbia, right? You don't have to worry about the lights being cut off. You don't have to worry about what you're gonna eat. You just hit the switch and the lights are on. You know, you never have to worry about that. You walk outside, you don't see crime. You see jogging trails. You see people with swimming pools in the back.
Leaving the garage open.
Yeah, all night, you know. I see that a lot out here in suburbia. They leave their garage open all night and they never even think twice about it. But, so, when you look at the economics of how that one song affects different areas, right? So, let's bring it to corporate America. So guess what corporate America says? They said, oh, we got this song. If it ain't about money, you could miss me with it. Where and who do I market this to? So you play that on a what? Urban station. You don't play that on a pop station, right? So on that we finna get deep. So on that urban station, right? You listen. So if you listen to an urban station that plays hip hop and R&B, right? Listen to the advertisements that they play.
Man,
come on.
So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the advertisements because I hit you up yesterday about that dental company.
Yeah.
Like they was talking about how they got massage chairs, they got Beats headphones when you getting serviced in there and stuff. And then I went on their website and they actually got a clothing line with like nifty little dental sayings, like say "I" on the shirt, like the Trey Songz joint. Don't hurt my feelings. Like they had all kind of stuff on there, but it appeals to an urban market.
Okay, that's right. And when you sent that over to me, I was like, "Yo, I never heard this commercial." Because you know, when I'm in the car, either the sports or the weather or worship music or something like that, you know, because I'm like, I have kids and you know. I grew up on hip hop and I was infatuated with hip hop, but I think at this point in my life, right, that I want to give my kids an opportunity to find out hip hop on their own. I don't want to just push that off on them. So I hadn't even heard the commercial, and I was like, yo, this is a dentist office with Beats by Dre massage chairs. And what's the first thing I said? I was like, yo, that had to be on the urban station.
Oh yeah, man. Right away. They even had one of the morning I guess disc jockeys, whatever they are, in the morning was actually in the commercial, like helping pub the company.
Oh yeah, because their demographic is it's a certain demographic, right? So that's the case with. Let's go back to the song that we were referring to, the T.I. song, you know. And this is not to condemn T.I. or anything. I'm just using it as an example, right? On how it affects, you know, different people in different situations, right? So the marketing aspect of that, right? So you saw this dentist. This is a dentist, right? And when I go to the dentist, I don't even think about having some Beats by Dre headphones.
Man, I'm thinking of calm colors.
Yeah.
Little eucalyptus in the corner with the fountain just trickling and a bonsai tree or something like that.
It's some smooth jazz playing. That's what
for Bodie James.
That's what I'm thinking about when I go to the dentist. I never even thought about that. But that dental company, they decided to invest in themselves. And guess what they did? They educated themselves to who were their demographics. My bad. I didn't mean to say that like that. Y'all forgive me for that broken English. But they educated themselves to like, they said, okay, who is our demo? Okay, if our demo is this, is urban society, well, let's cater to them.
And it was smart because they actually brought in that whole clothing line aspect. Like, what dentist office you know sells clothes?
Yeah, I'm like, yo, man.
They already getting your money from the dental procedure. Now they want you to. And if you think about it, you're paying them to market their company.
That's right.
Usually it's the other way around in corporate America. You pay for marketing.
Yeah, but
no, that's not what happened.
That's not what happened. You walk in that dentist office, they slanging t-shirts, they got coffee mugs, we doing everything. So when you go outside of that dentist, right, and you have on the shirt, right, somebody's gonna ask you like, where you get that shirt from? I got this from my dentist. Your dentist? They slinging shirts? Oh yeah, man, they slinging shirts. They got Beats by Dre. That is all a marketing tool.
See, they making the dentist look cool. See, the dentist was always like the number one. I don't want to go see that doctor.
Yeah,
I don't want to go there.
Yeah, nobody wants to go to the dentist.
They making the dentist seem cool, which is what we trying to do here at Black Market Exchange. We just want to make investment seem cool.
That's
like,
right.
It ain't gotta be all that shirt and tie like you said. You know, like I'm chilling right now.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be like that. It's like, yeah, yeah. Listeners, the Hip Hop Stock Guy came straight in the scrubs. Yo, straight from work. That's how we do it. But you see how like that dentist like took the a page right out of the late 90s record companies, the hip hop record companies, where the hip hop record company in the late 90s, early 2000s, what was they doing? They were slanging music. They had a clothing line. Some of them even had shoes. Mm-hmm. Jay-Z had Rockaware. He had the rock shoes.
Birdman had a shoe.
Yeah.
Funk Flex had them lugs.
Had them lugs. Yeah. And G-Unit, they had a shoe.
Yeah.
They had G-Unit clothing. So they did not stay in one spot. They diversified their portfolio. And it brings us back to how hip-hop has an impact on the global economy and how hip-hop has an impact and has made so many strides in investments.
And it's like everybody is benefiting off of it, except the people probably that need it the most.
Yeah, everybody is benefiting off of it except for the people who probably need it the most. And in saying that, right, you have to look at it like this, right? So let me just say this. I look at it this way. If I'm in an urban environment, right, and I'm struggling to pay my bills and everything, but T.I. gets me through the day, I go out and I support T.I. because I invest in T.I. because he's making a product that is helping me get through the day. Some people is like, yo, man, that T.I. record helped me get through a struggle I was in, right? Mm-hmm. But look at that in an investment sense, right? So you're investing in T.I. for him to continue to make music. So look at the household items. Look at the things that you do every day, right? So if you go to McDonald's, right, and you're saying, well, I'm getting food here every day. I'm spending this amount of money every day. I'm actually investing in this company, whether I like it or not. You're investing in that company whether you like it or not. So you got to look at it like this. Okay, can I invest in it on the front end or on the back end? When I say the front end or the back end, I mean, can I just keep giving them money to invest, or can I invest in them for it to make money for me as well?
Get some kind of return on it. You know, you always want to think in terms of investment, and even at just in a business mind, like you want to get some kind of return from it. You know, I mean, us doing the podcast, just getting great feedback from the listeners is a great return in itself.
That's right. We love you guys. We do. We really love the comments. We really love hearing you guys say, yo, this helped me out. That is great. That is a great return for us, you know. And when you look at it, how when you look at a return on investment, sometimes, and today we'll use this as an example, sometimes that return on investment doesn't yield a monetary gain. Sometimes when you invest in a stock, they always say what? You may lose or you may gain.
Yeah, all investments have some sort of risk associated to it.
It has a risk associated with it. So look at it like that. Look at those terms like that and say, you know what? We have a opportunity and we have something that is right here in the now that we can invest in, man. Because you're always going to have a risk with it. Just like Kanye. Kanye took a risk going to Adidas. Mm-hmm. Right?
I'm sorry, man. He a wild dude, man. Man, that little, that fashion line he had going on. I mean, I understand he's with the whole respect to artistry, but man, I don't know about that. Some of that stuff was just dark. I don't even know any other way to describe it.
I didn't see the.
Man, he had like 3 people in a trash bag. He had 2 people rocking like shoes with the toe all hanging. Like, I don't know what was going on, man.
Yeah, a lot of people. They told me that fashion.
But
show
that might
was
have
crazy.
been like the finest of silk. I don't know.
But that goes back to what we're talking about today. How hip hop has an impact on all aspects of the global economy. Even on fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even on fashion, right? Some of the most fashionable people are in hip hop. Take your ASAP Rocky.
Look at the Ralph Lauren with Polo.
Yeah.
I mean, how many black folks buy that?
Yeah. People of color love Polo.
You
Let
know
me
what
tell
I'm
you
saying?
that. They love Polo. And you hear, like, even now, you hear rappers, they name drop designers all the time.
All the time.
At all points. Louis, Margiela, they name drop these companies all the time. That's how much hip hop has an influence on the global marketplace, right? So when you're sitting at Margiela, right? Didn't Kanye say he had some people from Margiela working at his spot?
He was bringing in people.
Yeah, he's bringing in people from Margiela, right? So let me show you how it works from an economic standpoint, right? So say you're the young cat, right? You just got out of college, right? And you didn't get your degree in fashion, but you got your degree in marketing, right? You land a job at Margiela, right? And you say, you know what? You go to your boss and say, you know what? This hip hop music that I listen to, a lot of the cats, they dropped the name.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to kind of market to that audience.
Yeah, because they doing it for free, so let's push it even more.
Let's push it even more. You know what? Let's sit behind the scenes and let's send some of these hip hop artists free shoes.
Yeah, a little care package.
Yeah, let's send them a little care package. So it's behind the scenes. We don't have to do it publicly, but in a sense, we're investing in this artist who is actually doing marketing for us, so other people can actually invest in us.
And all you owners out there that may have like some kind of clothing apparel brand, that's definitely a wise decision in a way to invest in yourself. If you actually seek out some of these artists, regardless of how big or how small, and maybe send them a care package, send them a couple shirts or whatever it is that you have. If it's a hat, I don't know, it might be accessories. But if they're seen wearing it somewhere, that means other people are gonna catch up on it.
Yeah.
And once other people catch up on it, you're gonna have a bigger return on your investment, even though you might see it as a loss initially because you gave something away for free. But you didn't give it away for free. You made a short-term investment and you took a hit on that financial part, but in the long end, you're gonna regain that and some, because now everybody says, oh, so-and-so got this on. Where is that? Where do I get that at?
Yeah, that happens every day, man. Nike invests in its future by giving every rapper, every celebrity that you see Air Jordans. They're not paying for those Air Jordans. They get them early and they get them often.
Mm-hmm.
They send them to them. They say, hey, wear these. They love them. They love when the photos catch them in some new Air Jordans or some new Nikes, and they show up on these websites like Nice Kicks.
Mm-hmm.
And
Nice Kicks has that where it's like a sneaker something whatever, where they have somebody talk about like their 5 favorite sneakers or something like that.
Yeah, they have.
And they do. I mean, I think they post that almost weekly.
Yeah, they have the Kicks on Court. They have Celebrity Sneaker Watch. They have all these outlets, right, where they're marketing their brand because they're getting you to come to Nice Kicks. Nike is getting you to look at the shoe on a celebrity and say, hey, that's cool. That's cool. And a lot of the times, the celebrities that you see, the people that you see wearing these shoes are hip-hop influence.
Mm-hmm.
It has a global impact, and the impact is so broad. When you really look at it and say, hey, how did hip-hop impact the world? You say, okay, we were just talking about a kid that got out of college who is in marketing, right? Who listens to hip hop, and it affects the marketing community. It affects the promotions and sales. Just like you were talking about that dentist, right? Mm-hmm. So the sales department, right? At that urban radio station, wherever you were listening to it at, the sales department someone came to them and said, hey, I want to advertise on your radio station. In the sales department, the person maybe got his BA in business or whatever, said, yo, this sounds like a good fit. You work for our demo. You work for this sounds like something that someone that listens to hip hop would buy into.
Yep.
They could go to the dentist. They can have Beats by Dre. They listen to hip hop in Beats by Dre. You get a massage. You feel relaxed, and you can get clothing with it too. That's how hip hop is. It's constantly evolving, and hip hop is constantly reinvesting back into itself. But our discussion today is really who is benefiting from that? Who do you think is benefiting from that?
I mean, it's definitely gonna be the big level names, because as we mentioned, I mean, with the dental office, I mean, the company's gonna benefit from it the most, because one, you're coming in thinking like, oh, I'm at this dental office, like this place is fly, like I can get with this, but you're spending your money there, so they're gonna make money on that end. Plus, oh, I'm checking out here, man. I like this place a lot. Let me go ahead and get a shirt on my way out. I'm gonna make sure I tell five people that I know to come here as well, because I had such a great experience. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you got the same wisdom tooth pulled that you would have got pulled down the street.
Yeah.
Like it's still the same service. It's just the way it's being presented to you in a level that you can feel comfortable and you can comprehend like really what's going on and feel at home.
Yeah, because you sit back and you say, yeah, I can get my wisdom tooth pulled anywhere, but this dental office, it caters to what I'm into. It gives me a sense of, okay, it's really a part of me. It's a part of my culture. Mm-hmm. This dental office is not just the typical dental office that says, you know what, I sit down, have a seat, let me give you a shot in your gums, and then I'll fix your teeth, and then you can go. This dental office is hip. It's cool. Mm-hmm. It's trying to be a part of the consumer's life.
And see, that's where, like, say the show Empire. I know we've mentioned this quite a few times, but it's so influential right now. I mean, the ratings go up every single week. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing about Empire is that what drew me in, actually, is not even the storyline. It's the fact that they keep talking about this IPO every single episode and building the company up. I'm watching the show like studying as like an investor and as a business person, like what these people are doing. I know it's a show, but I'm still I'm looking at that aspect of it, not just because I want to be entertained. It's a benefit that I'm being entertained, but I'm looking at it from that aspect. And I think that if hip-hop is already invested in itself and it's always in everything, I think if artists saw themselves in that light, I mean, imagine if Master P thought that same way about No Limit back in the 90s, and No Limit was jumping. Like, can you imagine No Limit on the New York Stock Exchange?
Yeah,
like what?
You know, like what? Yo, because that company made like $400 million, man.
They had dolls. They had clothes,
shoes.
Man, No Limit albums came out like Jay's. It was every 2 weeks,
every
bro.
2 weeks. Man, I think Master P was dropping an album every week. They were dropping so many albums. So when you look at Empire and you say their IPO, which is initial public offering, right? They're trying to get on the New York Stock Exchange, and Lucius is trying to diversify his company, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you look at it, you're looking at it like, okay, this is just a music company, but they have all kinds of other little products in the series, right? I think don't they have their own like champagne or liquor or something like that?
They get water, they get clubs, shoes, they got all kind of stuff.
Yeah, because he knows he can't just do it with music. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you have an initial public offering, right, you know you're gonna have to be able to sustain. You know, because now you have investors, stockholders that are going to say, "Hey, what are you doing next?"
And basically, if this isn't taken off, it's kind of like if they lose an artist well, we need to replace that artist. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if you have a mutual fund and one stock is not doing well, you're going to want to replace that thing. So it's the same thing with a label. If you have one artist that's not doing well, you want to replace him with somebody else, or at least have another artist to compensate. The same thing goes to even, they took it to another level in that, well, we're not just going to think about it. What if all the artists weren't doing well? What else do we have? Oh, we have business establishments, you know, a restaurant. We have water. We have shoes. We have something that can compensate in case something else bites the bullet.
We have all these revenue streams. Like, so if the music never sells again, we still have all these revenue streams that will satisfy our investors, that will keep us going, that'll keep us afloat, man. So when you look at it and you say, wow, man, this show, the ratings are climbing higher and higher every week. The ratings are climbing, they're going through the roof, right? And this is hip hop based. So that means this show is touching people from all points of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's touching people from all points of the spectrum, and people are actually benefiting from that. They are benefiting from it, like from advertisers to the actors that are stars in the show.
Mm-hmm.
So at Black Market Exchange, we want to get you guys in on the know. We want to have you benefiting from these things as well, because this show is produced by Fox. This show is, there are advertisers on there. There are many things on there that
Fox is, I think it's on the stock market, by the way, too. I mean,
what is Fox?
You know, it's almost like, I think it should be, they might have two companies actually. It's a Fox 21st, FOX.
Yeah.
Fox 21st Century.
What are they trading at?
They're at $34.03 right now.
Yeah, $34.03 right now. That's in case you guys missed it last week, we did a case study, and that's about the average of what you guys were saving, you know.
Oh yeah, that's the low end.
Yeah, that's
the 35.
That's the low
that's
end.
the low end. That's one share of Fox.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, in the show, they're talking about how the company Empire is going to go on the New York Stock Exchange. Well, in real life, the company that hosts the show is actually on the New York Stock Exchange.
That's right.
And the show is helping their stock price.
Yes, yeah, that's right. The show is driving their stock price up.
Exactly. Every time a release comes out the next day saying Empire ratings went up higher, I guarantee you somebody's going in the next day like, I'm gonna buy some more Fox shares.
Yeah, because things like that.
They're probably hating that it's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah, they're like, yo, we can't wait for this to read back up. You know, you have executives in those boardrooms are like, yo, this is doing one. This is what the investors want. This is doing wonders, right? Mm-hmm. And also, not only the studio who produced the show, but also all the advertisers that are on there, man. They advertise a wide array of things on there. Everything is advertised on that show. You know why? Because the ratings are through the roof. They're like, everybody is watching, so we need to hit every demo. Every demo is watching. Now, don't get me wrong, Empire has a specific demo that they hit, but when it comes to advertising, they're like, we're constantly growing. That's what they're selling to the advertisers. So when they sell the advertising for that show, they're like, look, our numbers are going through the roof. You should invest in this right now. Mm-hmm. Because as the numbers go up, guess what? The price of the advertisement is going to go up.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to drop knowledge and drop gems on you guys. You know, invest in stuff while it's feasible and sit there for a minute and watch it rise.
And it's funny because this was actually a pretty smart move on Fox's behalf. So I've heard a lot of comparisons of Empire to the show Glee. Now, most people of color aren't really checking for Glee like that. Okay?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Well, 50
Cent said that.
Who's broadcasting Glee?
Fox. Yeah.
So they said, okay, how can we bring this other demo up in here?
How can we bring the urban people?
Since they're not watching Glee. Well, let's go ahead and get Empire on board so we can go ahead and get everybody.
And
we already know how Glee is doing. Glee is like that went through the roof.
Yeah, Glee was
Empire is now Glee 2.0.
Yeah,
they're filling it out.
That's right. And guess what Fox can say? Hey, we got every demo. We got urban, suburban, and everything in between. Guess what? Investors are eating that up.
And they're the corporate. So they got the urban demo with Empire, they got the suburban demo with Glee, and Fox itself is the corporate.
They're the corporate. It's like we got everything covered, right? But when you look at things like Empire and you see the commercials that come on Empire and you see the numbers going up, a light should be going off in your head saying, hey, this might be a good investment opportunity. What was it trading at? What, 34? Yeah, 34 and change? 34 and change. That's easy. That's easy to come up with. I know a lot of you guys and a lot of people out there spend more than 34 just going out on a Saturday. Mm-hmm. Man, it's like, how much is bottle service? Man, I heard somebody say bottle service is like $200.
Man, you gonna pay anywhere from probably at least $250 to $300 per bottle.
Per bottle. On bottle service.
On a bottle that's 40 over at the ABC.
Yeah, at the ABC, and then you come out of the club and you have nothing to actually show for.
You might have got a few numbers or something.
Yeah, because
you might have been courting up in there.
Yeah, might have got a couple more Twitter followers. Might have got some more people to follow you on IG. But your future, did you invest in your future? And that's the thing, man. You spend ridiculous money. We all do it. There's, whether it's frivolous $10 or $1,000, right? If we all just took a look at our spending habits and say, where can I invest this money, right? That I'm frivolously spending, then we could say, you know what? I own a share of Fox. Mm-hmm. You know? It's just, a lot of people say, well, what's one share going to do? One share might not make you a millionaire, man, but it will educate you.
Apple was at Apple was at like $5 or $10 like 15 years ago.
Oh, I mean, yeah. When they fired Steve Jobs.
I read an article on CNN Money. It was about a guy who hit a basket, but he said, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I believed in the company. So I put it all on black. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like I put it all on black, and I was just gonna ride it out. If I lost it, I lost it, but I'm gonna ride it out. But he had to have known that Apple was gonna be so. I mean, everybody knew it. I mean, yeah. I remember when the Mac first came out, and it was in schools. It was just like, what is this new contraption here? Like,
that they got.
You know, people. It was crazy, but it was just like that's how you got to see it. You can't think like, what is this one share going to do? Because at some point in time, that share is going to be double and triple its value. And if it's not, look to see if it has a dividend. There's some way to make money. There's got to be.
It's got to be some way. And when we go and we talk about Apple and Macs, and we talk about the cool factor, Apple, they went through a down period, and then Steve Jobs came back because Steve Jobs was initially there. He left. They got rid of him as CEO, and they brought him back. And I
think the stock got hurt too when they let him go.
Yeah, and he made Apple's cool to the point where, here it goes again, how hip hop influences the global economy, and it has a great impact on the global economy, because Jay-Z in one of his lines said, before Steve Jobs created iPods, Google that one and just figure out what song that's from. It was in the minds of all these kids who were not into Apple, but Jay-Z said it, and they're like, man, it's cool. I got to get me not only do I got to get an iPod, but when they come out with more technology, I gotta stay on board. Mm-hmm. Because they used to have the commercial like, "Are you a Mac or you a PC?" That was early, and they had the cool dude and they had the old dude in like a suit or whatever, and he had the PC and he was always having problems, and the Mac was just breezing through everything. Mm-hmm. So they made it cool. They made it cool, and then the innovation came where, well, let's put music on this hard drive, which is an iPod, essentially that's what an iPod is. It's just a hard drive, right? Let's put music on here, right? And when the iPod came out, what's the biggest genre? What's the biggest selling music? Hip hop.
Yeah.
It's hip hop. And who are the consumers that are going out to buy these iPods? All demos, but a lot of those people in that demographic were listeners to hip hop.
Yeah.
Like 85, 90% of those listeners were listeners of hip hop. It innovated and changed the way you listen to music. It innovated. You were cool. Not only was the iPod something to listen to music to, but it was something that was cool. It was like a fashion accessory when you had an iPod. You know, the Nanos came in all different colors.
Oh yeah, people at the gym, you just rock that joint on your arm.
And it was cool. It was a fashion accessory. Same thing with i.e. the Beats by Dre. The Beats by Dre. It not only were Beats by Dre a great way to hear music, but it was a fashion statement. Mm-hmm. It brought hip hop to the masses. Cause you saw everybody rocking these headphones, right? And people that you never, corporate guys in suits walking down the street with Beats by Dre on. And not that they knew all about what Dre did, but they were like, these are the best headphones. Mm-hmm. That's how hip hop has a great impact on the global economy, man. And it's still doing it to this day, But as we go back to the question, are we benefiting from it? I don't know, because as we talked about in our last iPod, we want you guys to know when Apple stock splits. So you can invest in it. And you can say, oh wow, Apple acquired Beats by Dre. That a light should be going off in your head and saying, hey, this may be my time to invest.
Exactly. And the reason that you're going to even know about it is because of the Beats by Dre element. That's what's going to
draw you in. Yeah.
Just like our verse of the week. If you see we use Rick Ross or Nas, that's what's going to catch your attention.
Yeah.
But you're going to learn something from it. We're going to take something that's already a cool entity and a part of your life anyway, but we're going to use it and shine some light about another area that can help make you some money.
Yeah, and the verse of the week is, man, that's a genius idea if we do say so ourselves. Because, and we're not trying to toot our own horn or put us up on this platform, but it is a great tool to draw people in who listen to hip hop the majority of their day. Mm-hmm. When you get in your car, 9 times out of 10 there's some hip hop playing. When you get out of your car, there's some hip hop playing. If you got some headphones at work, you probably jam into some hip hop.
I'll be watching CNBC, man, just kind of stay on top of the market, and I swear, man, they be playing I'm in love with the Coco.
I'm in love with the
Coco. But this is you looking at Skip and John right here, in they suits, and they got Young Thug on, it's crazy.
They what is this playing in the background? But that it's going across the board, right? So when you hear the verse of the week, right, and you hear the investment term in that verse of the week, right, you can take that and you can say, hey, let me do some research on this investment term, whether it's stocks, bonds, New York Stock Exchange. Just let me, before I even start investing, okay, I hear a verse of the week every week, right? Mm-hmm. I listen to hip hop, right? Just let me do some investigation on the words that Black Market Exchange are pointing out.
Yeah, and if we're pointing something out in the verse of the week, more than likely we have the video up on it in our Blacklight section that's covering the educational pieces. Every Thursday we have Teaching Thursday, and we'll take a topic, whether if it's a stock, bond, an IPO, a dividend, capital gains, whatever, and we're going to explain that in a clip. Well, in the verse of the week, we're going to talk about an investment term or a concept, and we're going to elaborate that on the Blacklight section.
Yeah.
So you can take the verse of the week as a means to kind of give you a preview of the basic of some education, then check out the Blacklight section to get a little bit more education and use all of that. Now, of course, there are going to be other resources, Because, of course, everybody, you're going to have more than one resource. That's just for any kind of thing. But this can be a great foundation for you. But at the same time, it's cool. Like, you can show this to your friends, and now y'all can have dialogue about these different things. Like, hey, you checked out that verse of the week, man? They brought in Rose, and he was talking about mutual funds or something like that.
Or Nipsey Hussle
was
talking
check
about
it out. And not only do we want you guys to be entertained with it, but we want you to think, like, if you hear a rapper say, I don't pop Molly, I rock Time 4. Well, now everybody's going to go be checking for Time 4. Everybody's checking for it. What is it? If they ain't know, they want to get it. If they knew what it was, now they really want to get even more of it. Well, take that same drive from that fashion piece and use that for the investment piece. Because as you can see, artists are using these pieces and we're going to deliver it to you.
Yeah, that's right. So instead of, you can hunt for the Time 4, go get you some Black Orchid, go do what you gotta do, go get your Time 4 suit or whatever. But also, when they say stocks, just don't gloss over it and say, oh yeah, I know what stocks are. No, investigate those stocks, Investigate really what stocks are and say, you know what, this week, I'm looking at stocks, right? Okay, how do I look at a stock? What's the ticker symbol?
And so, just so everybody knows, the ticker, think of ESPN. When you watch a game on ESPN or any program on ESPN, they always have that stream, that little marquee on the bottom. It says, NFL alerts, NBA alerts, so-and-so got traded, whatever. That's a ticker. So when you're looking at some of these
Bloomberg TV.
Yeah, Bloomberg, CNBC, Fox Business, they usually have a ticker on the bottom. A lot of times they have two. One's moving a little faster than the other. But basically, it's going to have a company's ticker symbol, which is just a group of letters put together to represent that company. So, like, Shake Shack ticker symbol is SHAK. Nike's is NKE. These are just a symbol to represent that company. Next to that symbol, you're going to have a price, which is what the stock is trading at. And then you're going to have a little arrow next to it that's either pointing up and it's green or it's down and it's red. And all that means is this company is trading at this price and it recently went up or down. And it's going to continue to stream all day long.
It's doing good or it's doing bad. It's doing good or it's doing bad. It's going to stream all day long. So what you can do is say, when you look at that ticker, what you're going to do is say NKE, which is Nike, right? And say, I'm going to look at Nike every day on Yahoo Finance. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is press in NKE stock quote. And even if you forget the symbol, say, you know what, Nike stock quote. And look at it every day. Look at it every day. Do that for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And see how it fluctuates and see what is making it fluctuate.
Yeah.
Because you may say, well, I don't understand that as of yet. But just look at it on the very basic. Just look at it for the very basic. Say, okay, I know that Nike's gonna drop, like, in the month of February, Nike drops a lot of shoes. Mm-hmm. There's the All-Star game, and there are players coming out with different kinds of editions of shoes, Black History Month shoes. Mm-hmm. All these kind of shoes are dropping in February, right? So say, you know what? I'm going to look at Nike for all of February, and I'm going to see how these shoe releases are affecting the stock price.
And not only look at in the month of February. See, that could be seen as almost like a extremely short-term investment. Think about it how we've mentioned before about a company's fiscal year, and they have their earnings every quarter or every 3 months. Well, if you think about it, if let's say Nike worked on a calendar year for their fiscal year, so the first quarter will go from January, February, and March, and they're going to report their earnings report how much money they made in April.
Okay.
So if you think about, okay, Nike's doing all this stuff in the month of February. Okay, let me see if the stock is going up. Is this a time to get in? I don't know. You can just kind of watch it just to kind of get familiar with it. Come April, Nike's got to report their earnings. Now, you can think about that February month. How did that affect Nike? And look at that to the year before. Did Nike earn more money this year in the first quarter compared to last year in the first quarter? If they did, what did they do different?
What did they do different? And you'll notice that the things that they do different are everyday things. Mm-hmm. That it's not a big secret what they're doing. It's just everyday things, It's just everyday things that are going on around you. You know, when Lay's has this potato chip flavor contest, right? Look at Lay's stock price during that contest. Take whenever that contest is going on. It's usually going on in January, right? They usually come out with a new flavor, right? And just look at Lay's stock for that month. So if you see a commercial on TV for Lay's that's saying, okay, we're gonna have a contest, say, you know what? I'm gonna look at Lay's stock until this contest is over, and just see how it fluctuates. See how that contest had an impact on the stock price, and that's what the black market exchange wants to do. We want to have you guys look at everyday things that you're doing every day, your spending habits, the things that you use, the things that you like the most, even the social media that you're on, the Facebook, the Instagram, and figure out ways that you could be investing into these things that you use every day.
You can almost literally own every piece of asset or every piece of aspect in your life.
Yeah.
You can literally almost own every single thing. And I want to touch back on when you mentioned the Lay's. So I'm thinking about how Oreo keeps coming out with all these different flavors now. You know, everybody was raving about these red velvet Oreos. I ain't had them yet.
Oh,
but
yeah.
folks was raving about
I
it.
definitely haven't had them.
So Oreo is owned by Nabisco, right? That's who makes it. So I'm like, okay, Nabisco, they're not on the stock market, but are they? It's a subsidiary of Kraft Foods.
That's right.
But see, people don't understand. Kraft Foods owns everything. My wife brought this to my attention a long time ago. Kraft Foods, I mean, they own Jell-O. I think they might own Ranch. Like they got all kind of stuff, man.
Kraft Foods is definitely the monopoly in your grocery store.
Man, they probably got one item on every aisle. I swear.
Yes. And matter of fact, they probably got 7 items on every aisle. And when you look at things like that, like Kraft Foods and how they impact your everyday lives, put Kraft Foods into your Google search engine and go to the Wikipedia page and see all the things that they have their hands in. And it'll amaze you. And you'll be like, wow, what is Kraft Foods trading at? Do you know what it's trading at?
It's at $63 right now.
$63.
And just to give just a couple tidbits, Grey Poupon, A1 steak sauce, Philadelphia cream cheese, Velveeta, Maxwell House coffee, Kool-Aid.
Oh, son. Come on, Velveeta and Kool-Aid. Come on, son.
You know what I'm saying? Like the list goes on. They got so much stuff.
Did you guys hear that? Velveeta and Kool-Aid.
And see, you gotta think about it.
You can make Rotel and the drink.
So you gotta think. So you gotta think about it. Kraft has some of these dairy items. We mentioned the cheese. Well, then you got a company like White Wave or a Hanes. I think it's Hanes Capital. They have they're in the whole organic area. So they're tapping into Kraft's market share in terms of healthy dairy products.
Yeah.
People may not know that White Wave owns Silk Almond Milk.
Yeah.
I know a gang of folks that have Silk Almond Milk.
Yeah.
And they own Land O'Lakes butter.
Yeah.
So they're tapping into Kraft's market share. But Kraft's got Jell-O. You know what I'm saying? Kraft's got all this other stuff on the back end. They got Nabisco with the Oreo. So if they getting tapped in on their cheese or butter, whatever it is, you know what? I got Oreos to help me out.
That's right. They're winning on all sides. And that's what this whole podcast was about, right? I know we went into Kraft Foods and we went into some other things, but that all plays into how hip-hop has an effect on the global economy, and that also plays into the fact that we want you guys to be educated. We want you guys to be wise investors, right? That's our whole mantra, right? We want you guys to not look at things for surface value, but just dig deeper, because with the whole hip-hop thing, right? You know, when you sit back and you're chilling and you may be watching MTV or whatever, you may be listening to some Jay-Z, you may be at a Super Bowl party, and Super Bowl party, they got hip-hop music playing in the background, they got some Rotel going, they got some Kool-Aid made. All these things are happening while you are in the world and they're going around you. You know, everything around you is a potential investment.
Yeah, and see, the hip hop element is just what makes it look cool. It doesn't
makes it look cool.
It doesn't have that shirt and tie effect to it. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, in the hip hop industry, there's always going to be a business side, so there's going to be suits. A lot of times, people like to just call people that wear suits. Like that's the corporate side.
Oh yeah, those people are the suits. Yeah,
but you can take the investment knowledge that Black Market Exchange is providing, but still feel like I can be me. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times, especially in the Black community, you always get this, either you with us or you not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you on the other side? Or you not Black enough? These kinds of things. And it's just like the investment world is all about money. It's all green. It doesn't see color.
Yeah.
So instead of having to view different outlets that always seem like it's just, the whole undiversified Bose mindset where it's like that 50-year-old white guy.
Yeah.
Let's apply to, that 20-year-old minority that's listening to Tupac at the time. And, he heard the word mutual fund. Black Market Exchange talked about mutual funds.
That's
I know
right.
what he's talking about.
That's right. And it goes across the board when we talk about education.
Look, Justin Bieber got the Brooklyn Nets hat on, man.
Yeah. Yo, we just seen a picture of Justin Bieber in a Brooklyn Nets hat. That is the effect of hip hop and marketing, right? You check out Action Bronson, man. He has a cooking show, right? So
he used to be a chef.
He used to be a chef, right? So we were just talking about how the foods interact in hip hop. We were talking about how the clothing interacts with hip hop. We were talking about how even what you think, like marketing interacts with hip hop. Even the marketing execs, even the salespeople who were selling the ad space on the radio stations interacting with hip hop. Even the corporate CEOs that you don't think even have anything to do with hip hop, and investment firms that the hip hop artists are taking their money to when they say invest in stocks and all this, right? They're taking their money to them, they're investing, and they're like, okay, you're with Adidas? Hey, I might need to invest in Adidas. Adidas is moving, hip hop is moving across all genres, all class systems, all colors, all races, all people, right? And there are people investing in it, touching everything. It's touching everything across the because we're so deeply, in our culture, we're so deeply invested into hip hop. It's time that we really start investing into hip hop.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, it would just be lovely for us to be able to just gather a whole bunch of artists, to be able to have almost like a cipher of investment topics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To pick their brain, kind of what's going on in your circles and what is your view on this. Do you feel you're at a level where you do know? Do you not know? And just to kind of get that dialogue, it would be great,
So, with that note, we're going to end. We'll catch you guys next week. Remember to check us out on SoundCloud. Remember to also check us out on YouTube, subscribe, leave a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down. It doesn't matter. Just comment. We want you guys engaged. What you got, E?
Yeah, stay tuned. The Hip Hop Stock Doc going to continue to bring you the verse of the week on Market Mondays, where you can find out some great market news as well as get some education. And the Teaching Thursdays, as we mentioned in the Blacklight section. Just continue to follow us on Instagram at black_market_exchange, and Twitter at bmex_. Also go to our website www.thebmex.com. That's www.thebmex.com. Make sure you sign up for our email list and just check out our site and just absorb all the information that we're providing to you, because it's great, but it's also cool.
And thank you guys again for listening. Live life, love God. We're out.